Hey there people, Ben Davin here. Hope you're having a great day. What I want to talk about today is what really bugs me about my dearest camera, the Canon XC10. You've probably seen the video down below on the YouTube channel. Shot a lot with it and I really like it, but it has some issues and they have nothing to do with the things that other reviewers tell you. Because of course, I would wish it would have like a constant aperture f2.8 10 times zoom lens. I would really like that, but maybe it's physically impossible. Maybe it has too many downsides for the designers, or maybe it's just the fact that they didn't want to do it because also when you go ahead and buy the C100 Mark II, you get a f3.5 to f5.6 zoom lens that doesn't have a whole 10 times zoom. It's a Super 35 lens, I know, but still. And just to mention it, because I've always got it on my mind when I read one of those reviews on the internet and they say, oh great, this camera has a built-in ND filter. Please do not forget that the maximum f-stop on that camera is f11, while on any Sony lens it's f22. And that is why they integrated an ND filter into the camera. It's just because the lens only jumps between at the maximum f5.6 and f11. That's the reason why it's got an ND filter, not because it's so super cool. So that's not the issue. My issue is that when I'm using this camera for run and gun shooting, I want to react quickly on whatever's going on in front of the lens. And so what's really missing is an assignable function, an assignable button that automatically sets the sensitivity and the proper iris for the situation where I'm pointing the camera at. That would be a true run and gun camera. Of course, they thought of an alternative to having that auto exposure function in manual mode, which is shutter priority mode. So you just dial to TV and then you're in shutter priority and you have your 1/50th shutter, and then you can point the camera anywhere and it will automatically adjust the exposure, which means both aperture and ISO up to the auto ISO limit, which is kind of cool. But then you point it somewhere and you just want that exposure to stay. So you have to press function, go into exposure lock, go to that M box, press the M box, and then it's locked. And then you press menu twice to get out, because we're not shooting at the moment. Things get a bit more complicated when we want to lock the exposure to a new scene from the camera. Then you have to go to the function menu. Then you have to go with the joystick up to the left. Press, and then double menu. And you're back in recording operational view. Except when you're in recording mode, then the whole thing gets even more complicated, because let's say I'm recording, then I press function, I press exposure lock, I go up, I go to the left, I press M again once the image was adjusted to the brightness of the scene, and then while I'm in recording mode, I cannot double press menu to leave function view. So I have to go up, press to go out and to see the whole screen again. And that is really inconvenient. And there's no way that I can map the auto exposure function on one of the few buttons on the camera. And that is really annoying. I'd really like to have that auto exposure function in manual mode just to be more flexible, because going between f5.6 and f11 is not really a lot. Changing the ISO could be very problematic. So in the end, I'd say a camera like this is screaming for an auto exposure function that automatically corrects the ISO and the f-stop in manual mode.